I'm Amber Davies and welcome to Call to Stage. This is the space where musical theatre takes centre stage. From unforgettable backstage stories with incredible special guests to insights from my life and my theatre journey. We're leaving it all on the mic every single week, so let's jump in. Hi guys, welcome back to Call to Stage with me, Amber Davies. Now I have... this is verbatim from bio on Insta. Welsh Olivier nominated actor. It's the sensational Marc Antolin.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I fucking love that bio. I took it straight from my bio on Instagram.
I love that. Yeah.
I hope it's going to be me one day.
It will be.
I'm manifesting.
It should be. Manifest. It'll work. Yeah.
Also, how adorable is this? When Marc came in, he got me these adorable Welsh gifts, Welsh-themed gifts.
Got to celebrate the hometown, you know?
I know. And I feel like the Welshies in London, we have each other's back.
We do. We got each other's back. We're taking over slightly.
We are.
Everywhere. We're everywhere.
If you're Welsh, you're booked.
Yeah. Get that job.
Get that job. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No, thank you.
I feel like we've been trying
to
make this work for like 6 months, haven't we?
Yeah.
And the schedules have aligned.
You could just kept going to the top of my list like that.
Oh, thank you.
And then you kept doing more stuff, and I think, yeah, we want him. We want him.
Get him on. Yeah.
Before we get started on all the juicy goss, any pre-show rituals as Leo?
I have a whole routine.
Tell me everything.
So it started. I'm slightly OCD. I'm not, and I get into these routines, and I sort of like, did I switch that off before I left the house? I always do that. I have to go back in, reset the alarm, check everything's off. But with this show in particular, I've got so many because I'm not in the show until the first 12 minutes I'm off stage.
Stunning.
But I hate not being a beginner because I don't feel ready for a show.
Yeah.
So I always stand backstage at beginners for about 12 minutes, getting nervous. So then I've developed these things. I've got whole routines. Like I always say to the company, I go around everyone before the beginners and I say, "Jump, my darling, theatre will catch you," which was sort of a piss take at first, but now it's become a real thing that I'm like, just jump and have fun. Theatre will catch you.
That should be a tattoo.
Jump, my darling, theatre will catch you.
It's going to be up your arm one day.
Yeah, my thigh, the biggest muscle in my body, and then but then I've ended up having routines that I've got. Like there's a random dance break in King of Broadway when I'm stood backstage, and I do a little and I always have to do it. And if I don't do it, something's going to go wrong. Yeah. And just really random things like that. Like I'll always sing a little bit of this on the clarinet. I'll always sing that. Because in my head, I'm like, checking this there. Yeah. So I get so many routines before a show.
I like that. I like that you're saying that with your chest as well.
I think so.
This is me. Take me for who I am.
Yeah.
I will do that dance break.
I will do that dance break every show. So when you hear that dance break, if you watch the show, I'm backstage going...
Doing it.
Yeah.
I love that. They know that now.
Yeah.
We have to talk about Arts Ed.
Yes.
You're an Arts Ed fellow.
I am an Arts Ed fellow, yeah, as so many are.
As so many.
So many are. Yeah.
What made you go to Arts Ed from gorgeous Port Talbot?
Well, it was sort of a strange one because I came into drama quite late.
Okay.
I was always interested in it, but in terms of it being a career, it was quite late in my teens. And I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do the straight acting route or the musical theatre route. And I didn't really have singing lessons or dancing lessons prior to 16. And I started dancing at Gosainon College in Swansea. And I was like, oh, this is quite fun. And I was like, I'll be a bit more employable if I learn to sing and dance. So I thought, I'm going to try for musical theatre colleges. And Arts Ed was one of the first places I auditioned to. There were lots of Welsh people in the year above me, so I knew quite a few people there, which felt very comfortable for me to move to London and be with fellow Welshies.
Cymru am byth.
Cymru am byth, cariad. And then I was just like, I basically got in with a scholarship, and it was the first place I got into. And I thought, I can't really afford to keep coming back and forth for loads of auditions and different rounds. And I thought, it was in Chiswick, which was West London. Yeah. It's just only 2.5 hours on the M4. Yeah, get straight down. Yeah. And I just thought, it just felt right. And it's weird because I always used to think, I wonder what would have happened if I had taken the sort of drama college route, sort of not musical theatre route, and I wouldn't have changed it for the world, because I've sort of managed to do a full circle around doing straight plays and then come back to musicals, and I wouldn't have changed it for the world now, and I'm so glad that I chose that college and grown that skill set that I needed to do the jobs that I've done.
The toolbox.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Did you enjoy your time there?
Yeah, I mean, college is hard, right? Because you have the best times, you have the worst times. And it was a very funny time, because I always felt like I did okay in there. I was never the favourite. And it was sort of weird, because then when I left, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do career-wise. And yeah, it was an amazing time, and I'm still friends with so many of my year group, and actually our year group was an incredibly talented year group. So, and we were lucky actually with the shows that were out when we left college a long time ago. We had like lots of like young musicals, like High School Musical, Our House, like they were really big then. So a lot of us found work quite well before we graduated. Some of us got jobs, and my first job was the Music Man in Chichester, which I was playing like a teenager in. So it was sort of, there were lots of shows for young sort of people coming out of college at that time. So we were very lucky timing wise, but yeah, but I wouldn't have changed it.
You've done quite a lot in Chichester, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I'm part of the furniture down there now. Yeah. I love it.
Is it beautiful?
I love it, yeah. And you know, it's one of those places that, like when I first worked there, and a few of the shows I did there, actually, we were in rep season, so you'd sort of be down there for the whole 3-4 months, you'd have like a week off, or like while another show was being put in, and but you would have a real sort of company vibe down there with other people in other shows. And so I left college and I essentially moved to Chichester for 4 months.
Oh, did you?
I moved out my flat in London, and me and my friend Claire Halse, who was also in the show, we got a flat together down there for like 3 months over the summer, which was amazing. And I sort of stayed down there. I was like, I'd do a day trip to Southampton. And it was like lovely. And and like big shout out to the Bell, which is the pub near the theatre, and Michelle and Beanie who run it. I like my friends, because but it's amazing, because it's almost like part of the vibe of working in Chichester is that you go to the Bell, and there's so many stories of like actors that have worked at Chichester since the beginning of the theatre, and that would be like your home. Like you'd make friends for life in the Bell, and it's amazing. It's the best pub. I love it.
Shout out the Bell.
Yeah, shout out to the Bell.
I love that. Now I want to talk about one of the most incredible things on your CV. We'll talk about producers after.
In Welsh?
No. That you were in the film Love Actually.
Oh, yes.
When I found out this information, I said, sorry?
Yeah, big part of my life.
Big moment for
big
you.
Moment for me, yeah. I mean, it was, though. We were like, I think I was 15 at the time, and I used to go to the Mark Jermyn Stage School in Swansea, and we were basically picked to be the choir in the school concert. And it was huge, you know. But at the time, you didn't know how big this film was going to be, right? And
bearing in mind, it's Love Actually. It's Love Actually.
It is actually
Love Actually.
Yeah, and it was mad. I mean, we were I think we did like 3 or 4 days of filming. We did a couple of days rehearsal, learning the sort of step clicks, the ooh, ah. And we were sat on stage with Emma Thompson, Martine McCutcheon, and Hugh Grant was sat out front. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, it was nuts, and we just had a laugh. And
what did your parents think?
I mean, that was like, at the time they was just so supportive though. So anything I would do, they would just be like, we'll take you to this, take you that. Yeah. And but even now, we sort of don't realize how big that movie. And we didn't know at the time how big it was going to be.
No, of course.
And I actually did a Christmas concert 2 years ago called Christmas Actually, at the Royal Festival Hall, which Richard Curtis created and was part of. And they introduced me in the show with a clip of me from Love Actually, that was a big moment for me. And
like, look how much you've...
Look where he is now.
Wow.
Yeah. From the back of the choir to...
I would definitely say, like, you peaked in that moment.
I think I did. I should have quit. I should have given up. Yeah. How can you top that? I mean, it's the best thing you've picked out on my CV. So.
You managed it. Let's talk about the producers.
Yes.
So you play Leo Bloom.
I do play Leo Bloom.
Can you talk to me about the audition process, or like when that email came into the inbox? What was your thought process?
Well, it's a weird one because like, you know what it's like. You hear the rumors of like shows that are coming up, and you're like, right, want to stake my claim on that role. Want to get my name. You ring the agent, and you're like, get me in for this. I've heard it's happening. Whereas with this, it just came total surprise. My agent rang me and was like, Patrick Marber wants to meet you for the producers to play Leo Bloom, and at the Menu Chocolate Factory. And my first thought was, how the hell are they going to do that show at the Chocolate Factory? Because it's a small venue, 200 seats. I was a huge fan of Patrick's. I remember reading Closer, the play, and seeing it at the Donmar many years ago, and being sort of like in awe of it, and lots of other plays that he'd written and directed. And I was like, this sounds incredible. Reread the script, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I remember seeing the show at Drury Lane when I was at Art Ed. And I was like, actually, the script is mostly set in small locations, but like an office, a rooftop, someone's living room. Do you know, it's only in the big sort of Springtime for Hitler section where it goes into a huge sort of show number that needs a huge theatre sort of space. And I was like, I can really see this working. So met Patrick, and the kindest, loveliest man ever. He sort of was like, hello. He was like, oh, you're the first person I thought of for this role. He'd seen me in a production of The Flying Lovers of Vitebsk, which I did years ago at the Globe Theatre. And I was playing Marc Chagall, this Russian Jewish artist, and I did lots of clowning. There was lots of sort of being silly and slapstick stuff. And he said, I remembered you from that. And he was like, I thought you'd be perfect for this role. Which is nuts, because I hadn't even known he'd seen the show. And had I known that, I probably would have reached out to him and gone, hey, I heard you saw this show. No, but and the fact that he remembered, because this was 2016 I did that show, so it was a long time
ago. Decade ago?
Almost, yeah. Yes.
No,
sadly,
a decade ago.
It is a decade ago, yeah.
And that's the impact you had on him.
Well,
that 10 years later he thought, that man.
Yeah. And it was nuts, because then we sort of... Patrick has never directed a musical before, so I didn't sing in my first audition. They just sent me the scenes, and so I read the scene with Patrick. He played Max in the scene, which was quite fun. And he was like, oh, I quite like this. Let's do it again. So we did it again. He was like, I don't really have notes for you. He's like, you've got the character. He was like, let's just have a bit of fun with it. And then I did another, there was a monologue in the courtroom scene towards the end of the show, which leads into a song. So I just started singing the song a cappella. And he was like, oh, thank you so much for doing that. It was so nice to hear your voice when you sing. And he basically said to me at the end of the audition, he was like, look, he was like, I'm not sure how long this process is going to be. He was like, I've never done a musical. I'm sure there are many other hoops you have to jump through. You might have to sing and dance, this, that, and the other. But he was like, don't read into our silence, because you're the first person I've seen, and I don't know what happens after this.
So he really was like a guinea pig. This
almost.
Is his first time.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And then I sort of, and he said, but he was like, but know that you've absolutely smashed this audition today. And I was just, and what was so nice was I think I was in there for about an hour and a half, and he was so interested in me as a person and my upbringing and my life up until this audition moment. And it was really nice, because you don't really get that. And in audition rooms, it's like, okay, stand there, let's go from the top. But actually, I feel like you get the most out of people when you're relaxed and you have that interest in them as a person. And it was just it was the most loveliest audition. And I thought, do you know, if nothing comes of this, I've had a really lovely hour and a half meeting Patrick, reading scenes with him and having fun. And then a week later, I got a call saying, right, you're the only person we're sending off on tape to Mel Brooks. He has to okay you. He has to say yes for you playing the part. Come in next week, bring these different costumes for the different scenes, because he said, let's give Mel the best chance of seeing you as the role. Learn this scene. So I went back in, filmed it, sent the tape off, and then a few days later found out I'd got it. And it was mad, because the worst bit was sort of knowing that the role was mine if Mel says yes. So that was the worst bit. I was sort of, because I was like, if he says no, then there's no changing anyone's mind.
No.
And and then as soon as Patrick sent me an email, and the title was just like, you can do it. And it was like, Mel's given you the blessing to play the role. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
What a gorgeous, unique experience.
It was really, and it was really special, and it felt really, I was really touched by it, because you don't get that kindness in
no,
those
you
situations
really
a lot.
don't. And it's quite intimate.
It really was, yeah. And it just felt very personal then. And you felt like, yes, of course I have got this role because I've had this wonderful sort of audition experience of getting this part.
Yeah.
And it just felt, I felt like it was meant to happen in a way.
Yeah. And are you loving every second of it?
I'm loving it. We're about 5 months into the run now at the Garrick, and we did 3 months run at the Menier. And do you know what? It's to bring people such joy every night. I mean, you know what this is like when you're doing a show that people just get so much happiness from, and you know everyone's sad at the moment. So to hear people laughing hysterically, sort of side splitting 2.5 hours almost each night is just incredible.
Yeah.
And you see people sort of like not quite skipping down the road after, but you know, you just
everyone's just like, an energy.
and like where we come out of stage door, people are normally leaving the theatre and they're all just like, oh my god, thank you so much, that was so much fun, and people have come back quite a few times to watch it because they're like, I just need to laugh again for 3 hours. And the show is, the company is so lovely. They're the most talented bunch, and I always say they're like quadruple threats because they have to sing, dance and act, and they've got to be hilarious as well, and they're all so funny, and it's just such a lovely building to be in. And
nice.
And I think that is really reflected in backstage as well.
And on stage you can feel it.
Totally, yeah. And you know, it's there's so much to see because everyone multi-roles as different parts.
Yeah.
So like, I think people that come back again to see it always see something different, which is fun.
Yeah. And how long have you got left?
Well, we're booking until September at the moment.
September?
Yeah, we were actually meant to finish the run last week.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and then we found out quite early on that we were extending until September.
And I bet that is such an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I normally do shows that are 2 months runs, and that's it. I haven't done a long run in a show since 2012, a long time ago. And so this for me is just so nice to sort of know that I'm going to be doing this, and we get to have fun with each other for however long, and who knows, maybe it will extend beyond September, which would be amazing. So.
And can I just ask, so for over a decade you've been doing short runs.
Yeah.
How is it comparison to doing a long run? Like, are you still discovering, or are you kind of set in stone? Yeah,
well, I mean, the thing with short runs is you sort of you work it out, and then there's always a hope that some of these short runs might have another life. You know, you sort of hope, oh, this might transfer to town, or it might have another sort of outing at some point. And so you always think this might be the end, but sometimes you say goodbye to them and you go, that was that. But with this, it's mad because, you know, in a long run, you get to take holidays from the show, or if you're sick, there's an abundance of understudies in the show to sort of take over the role for you, and it's lovely because then when you're on with different people in the show, people give you different things. So you're constantly finding different things, and it's just such a fun thing to rediscover new things. And also, you know, the audience changes day to day, so you can always tell, like, oh, they're this kind of crowd tonight. They're going to really enjoy these bits. They're not going to enjoy this bit so much, or so you're constantly changing, and how you feel each day is different. Exactly. And so, like, different things ping out to you each night, and especially with our show, which, you know, does have a sort of political sort of meaning behind it, essentially, and the political world we're in changes daily, so different lines ping out every day, and you're like, oh god, that really resonates today, and an audience will respond to it very differently. And I think it's just a joy, and I'm really enjoying doing this long run because you do find new things, and Patrick, the director, Patrick Marber, he keeps coming in and watching it just because I think because he loves the show so much, and he always just like changes things because he's like, oh, we can make this better, and, and it's so nice. He's very hands-on in making these changes, even though the show is up and running. He's like, we can do that better, we can do this better, and I love it because then it gives a new life to the show each night.
Have you ever been told you could be like a distant brother of John Dalglish?
I haven't, but I will take that.
Wow.
Maybe we should find a show to do together.
This whole time, I think we should like rewind, run back. I've been looking at you thinking, you remind me of someone, and I just can't put my finger on it.
Wasn't Brad Pitt or anything?
You could be.
Johnny Bailey.
I'm obsessed with Jonathan Bailey. I'm obsessed with him.
How many times this is the first mention of Johnny Bailey, actually.
No, I spoke about him in the last one.
Oh, no,
as well.
see, there you go. Cut that.
Yeah, you could be a brother of John Dalglish.
There you go. I'll take that.
Even like
He's
in
an incredible
mannerisms.
actor. I'm a big fan of his, so
my God.
maybe we could play brothers in something.
Maybe you could.
Yeah. A big revival of Blood Brothers. Well,
Yeah.
there we go. You've heard it first, guys.
We don't need a revival of Blood Brothers, but thank you. Please. Oh, Richard Kind is joining the cast.
Yes, yeah. So actually, like, it's going to be really exciting because we're 6 months into the run, and Andy Nyman, who is incredible, I adore that man so much. He's playing Max, and we created the show together. We've done it at the Menu, doing it at the Garrick together. He's a very clever man. He wears lots of hats, and he's written a play, which he's also directing. So he's leaving the show for 7 weeks to go and do that in York.
Wow.
And Richard Kind, who played the role on Broadway, he took over Nathan Lane on Broadway, and he also did it at the Hollywood Bowl. He's coming in. He's coming in for 7 weeks to play Max in the Garrick Theatre.
And you get to play opposite.
And I get to play opposite him. And I was in New York last week, and me and him met for a coffee before he starts rehearsals, and it was just so fun. And Richard Kind by name and kind by nature. He's a very beautiful man, and he arrived in London yesterday. He started rehearsals today. So yes,
have you been in rehearsals today?
I haven't. No.
Okay.
No. I joined.
Say apologies for getting you here.
No, he dragged me out. Yeah, no, it's fine. No, but he so it's going to be really fun because he's obviously played the role in a very different production.
Yeah.
But he's so excited to sort of rediscover this new version that we're doing and revisit the role almost 20 years later from when he first did it. So
wow.
So it's going to be very fun, and he's only there for 7 weeks. So
but all the tickets will go, won't they?
I imagine so, yeah.
Well, there'll be a waiting list to see that. And how lovely that the producers has let Andy go and do that.
Yeah.
Like, that's quite unheard of. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I think, I think he's been writing this play for a very long time, so I think it was always something that he's wanted to be part of directing it as well. So, so it was always sort of known that he would be leaving the show to do that. Yeah,
that is amazing.
But then come back
come back and put the shoes back on.
Exactly.
A couple of things I want to talk to you about. The first one is I Wish You Well.
Yes.
What a success.
What a success. You had Idris on you, didn't you? And he told you about the over 25s.
I'm dying.
The over 25s.
It was the over 25s category.
But that show was such a surprise because I did a reading of it, and they were like, look, it's going to Edinburgh in a couple of months. We'd love you to do it if you want to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, I'd done Edinburgh before. I had such a good time. And I think it's one of those things I was resistant to do it at first because I was like, oh, I had such a good time in Edinburgh the first time, and I don't want to sort of not have that same experience again. And oh my God, we literally felt like pop stars walking around because, obviously it was like Diana Vickers, Tori and Idris and myself. But the best thing for me was because I was playing an 80-year-old man. So I had a grey wig and I greyed my beard for the show. So no one knew who I was. So I'd be with these three walking around and we'd be sort of strutting around Edinburgh, pre-show, after show. And everyone would go, oh, we saw your show, it was great. And they just look at me and go, because they didn't know who I was. And I was like, and then at one point Tori said to me, she was like, do you want me to say, oh, he played the old man? And I was like, no, I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, I quite enjoy it, yeah. But honestly, that was such a, I remember doing the reading and I was like, oh shit, this is good. Yeah. This is really fun. And so silly.
Yeah.
And so topical. And when I knew who I was going to be doing it with, Idris, Tori and Diana, I was like, this is going to be a really fun time.
Yeah.
And then we had this surprise transfer to the Criterion, which was bizarre. And there's rumours of us maybe them wanting to do it in New York at some point. So who knows? Yeah. Which would be amazing. And we'll get the band back together, our 2-year reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on tour
ABBA.
again. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm going to tell my kids you are ABBA.
Yeah. Please do. Yeah. But that was such a fun show.
And it just the hype and everything was just I love when a show gets his flowers.
Totally, yeah. And it was such a great group. Arlene Phillips was choreographing it, and it was which was amazing. And it was us. We all did it because we thought it was going to be really fun, and we just didn't expect the success to come from it. And Rick and Roger, who wrote it, it was their first show that they'd written, and to have that success straight away,
I
it was
know.
like, wow, this is amazing.
It's like they peaked.
Yeah,
like
totally.
You and Love
Yeah,
Actually.
me and Love Actually. Yeah, I should have quit now. Yeah, don't quit.
Keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
Seymour and Regents Park. You've done a couple of things in Regents Park.
I have. Yeah.
Do you love it there?
I love it there. Yeah.
I haven't done anything there, but apparently
you will.
amazing.
You should. It's amazing. It's such a unique venue because you're outdoors, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So you're battling with all the elements, but it's also a very unique experience because the audience have the same experience as the stage because the stage isn't covered. So you're getting rained on as an audience member, as are the cast on stage, and it's so unpredictable. But I love it because and lots of different shows work well in the rain. You know, like there was a bit I remember in Little Shop of Horrors when I was singing Grow For Me. And as I was singing, I've given you sunshine, I've given you rain, it just started raining. And it's amazing because then you just do a little cheeky wink to the audience and they all laughed. And then we had a little show stop after that then. But
then the show
sadly,
came.
yeah. But it is an amazing place. And Seymour was a dream role of mine since school.
Wow.
Like I'd always wanted to do it. And I saw all the other comprehensive schools doing it. I was like, why can't we do that next year? And I ended up doing Sweeney Todd. And I was like, I want to do Seymour. But it'd always been like a dream of mine. And I heard about it coming up at Regents Park. And I was like, this is my time. I was like, if I don't do it now, I'm going to be the wrong age for it when it comes around again. And I was like, what an amazing place to do that show. And just the version we did, is reimagining it, but still keeping the heart of the show and what the original movie was and the original musical. It was the best, that show, and I loved it. And
who directed it?
Maria Aberg. Yeah, she and she's an incredible director, and Tom Scott designed it. And Matt Willis was playing the dentist. Jemima Rupa was
talking about
Audrey.
Matt Willis today.
Yeah, and we had Vicky Vox as the plant, and
wow.
and it was amazing. That cast was incredible, and that was a dream part, and I just had the best time doing it. Yeah.
Have you got like a venue that's on your like dream venue list? Because like one of mine in the UK is Regents Park.
Yeah.
Like, have you got one? Like, it could be anywhere in the world.
I mean, I would love to. Like, I've still not done the Old Vic and the Almeida.
You've done the Vic though, Young Vic.
I did the Young Vic.
So you need to do the Old Vic.
Yeah, I need to do the old one, the OG. The
you
OG
see the
Vic.
OG.
Yeah. I'd love to do those venues. And then do you know what? I don't even know where this place is, but there's like this outdoor opera venue somewhere in Europe, and they have these incredible sets. And I think it just comes up on my Instagram, like, algorithms manifesting. Yeah. And it's generally like it's on the water somewhere, this stage, and I don't even know where it is, but that would be pretty cool. I don't know what show I'll do. I'll do I Wish You Well there.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
That keeps coming up.
But also I've worked at, rewind. I would love to work at the Wales Millennium Centre. I've never done it.
You never done Wales Millennium Centre?
I've never done the Wales Millennium Centre. Mic drop.
It's beautiful.
I know. And I love going there.
There's something like, it's such a grand feeling.
Of course.
But there's something like, when I perform there, I feel like every single person in that auditorium has my back.
Totally, yeah.
Welsh.
No, of course, yeah. And
oh, you'd love it. You've got to do it. Why did you do One Night Only?
Maybe I will. Yeah, would you come and guessing?
I'll be your...
There you go.
No, what's that act at the start?
The what?
Tribute act. No, what's that start thing?
Oh, the warm-up.
I'll be the warm-up.
You can be the warm-up. You can be my warm-up, yeah.
I'll be your
Everyone
warm-up.
will leave after you've done your numbers. They'll be like, oh, there we are. We've seen the main event. I'll just give them Welsh cakes. There you go.
My gosh.
Give them Welsh
You
cakes and
have to
daffodils.
do a One Night Only with Marc at the Wales Millennium Centre.
There we go. I'll do all my greatest hits. I'll do Love Actually.
Yeah. You have
I'll call it Marc Antolin, actually.
Yeah.
There you go. You heard it. Yeah, first. There we go. Marc Antolin, actually.
I feel like I've put you on something there.
The wheels are turning.
Yeah. And I feel like, wait, shall I, do I get involved in somewhere?
Listen, let's do it. 2027.
Because you've done so much. Like, I had to pick apart your CV and I just thought, like, this is exhausting. Like, I didn't even know, like, there's so many things, like, bells are ringing, you played Paul at the Union Theatre, From Here to Eternity, The Trial.
Matilda.
Matilda twice in 2 separate places.
Yeah.
I haven't even got that down. That's just from memory.
There we go. Well done.
Hello, Dolly, Regents. Like, and this is hot, like zero of what you'd actually done. I just like put out like what I thought we could talk about. But it's like, is there anything you're like, I have to do that?
It's weird because things constantly surprise you, and then once you've done them, you're like, God, that was a real dream job. And Leo Bloom's huge, yeah. And I remember, like, seeing Lee Evans doing it at Drury Lane, and I was like, wow, but I never thought that role would come my way, and it has. And I didn't think I wanted to do Shakespeare, and I did 12th Night of the Globe, and I had the best time doing it. And I was like, I want to do more Shakespeare. I'd love to do more screen work. I'd love to work in America again. I did a show over there in LA and South Carolina. I would love to do Broadway. It was The Flying Lovers at Vitebsk, which I did before. But those are all dreams. Sort of New York, like I was there last week watching my friends in shows, and I just didn't stop crying as soon as they started. Like, Jack Wolf is in Hadestown, Sophie Common-Jones doing Chicago. I went over there to see them, and just to see your mates smashing it as leads on Broadway, I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, this is insane.
I know.
And I was so proud of them, and so proud of seeing British talent on those stages, which you things you can only dream of. And
isn't it wild as well? Like, the Americans' goal is to be on the West End.
I know, it's the grass is always greener.
The grass is always greener,
and it is like, but you sort of, you do, like, we grew up like sort of watching musicals that were sort of started on Broadway, and you're like, God, how amazing would it be to go there? And so there are like dreams, and there's like, it's also very funny because there are dreams roles that have gone that have passed me by now, so I'm getting too old. So you're like, oh, I missed that one. But there's always things that surprise you, which I love, because then you don't pin your hopes on one thing, and then you don't have that disappointment if it doesn't go your way then.
Exactly.
But there's so many things you want to achieve, isn't there? And I think the best,
it's endless.
It is endless, yes. And I think the nice thing is that I think by opening your eyes and taking the sort of path less trodden, is that the right saying? I think it is.
I like it.
Yeah, we'll take it. That you do end up in the amazing places.
You're meant to be.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I'm a big believer in fate, and I think it's a slight coping mechanism as well of going, oh, that wasn't meant for me, so it's gone. Yeah. But I actually think the more I do believe in it, the more things do come your way, and I think it things constantly surprise you, which is amazing.
Yeah. I love that. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to be asking you a quick fire round question, which is more like...
Yeah.
But guys, if you are signed up to our Patreon, you will hear me ask Mark these questions in a second. But thank you so much.
Thank you. I've had the best time.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy the Welsh cake.
I will.